everybody, my name is Luar and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are coming to you with your May 2023 fashion roast and review. There was a lot to discuss. We got Renaissance tours, we got Eras tours, we got people not on tour, a lot to get into, okay? Much to discuss. If you're a channel member, listen, the channel member video is out, it is up, it is ready. There are more looks to discuss. If you want to become a channel member, $1 a month, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. If you're not a channel member, that's okay too. Listen, still good content coming your way. With that, let's get into it. First up, we have Anne Hathaway. She's wearing custom Versace. This, I believe, was to the Bulgari event that was held in Venice, so she's also wearing Bulgari, a nice big couple of jewels on her neck, big gorgeous stones, and there's stones around the stones. It's stunning. But the thing that I think is really intriguing here, obviously, is the dress. I love this hooded, sleeveless style on her. I think a hood is wonderful. It frames the face so beautifully. You don't have to really worry about too much hair situations going on. Like, it's nice. Love a hood. Always good. Somebody said I should write a book. Not like write a book, but I should just take the stupid shit that I say on here and put it in a book. Goals for 2024. I'm kidding. But I love a hooded dress. I think it's beautiful. I love the way that it drapes as it hits sternum, shoulder area. We can just see the way that it sort of flows down. I think that's because this dress is made partially out of orton, which is the chainmail material that Gianni Versace sort of developed. And it's in this gorgeous gold color. And I think that's what gives it that real kind of liquidity. It's like liquid gold. It's stunning. As we reach under the bust area, which is fully covered, we can see that the sheer panel then starts to lead us into the silver dégradé of orton, and then a continuation of this sort of sheer paneling. There is a very large high slit. I love it. I think it's cool. I think it works. I think it's sexy. And then the dress sort of continues in silver and sheer crystals as we move down the leg. Silver shoes, I think, makes sense, plays into the whole effect. Long story short, I love this. I think it's beautiful custom Versace. It really works. I think the ability to play on the gold and the silver also is done well here. It's not like it's gold on top, silver on bottom, even though it is. It feels like it's a little bit more fluid. We're blending metals together. The orton, again, I think is a great material because it really does give you a fluid ability to wear a metal, which I think when we think of metal, it's not usually fluid. It's much sort of denser, stiffer, tougher, more industrial. But here, I think we can see that Versace shows that metal doesn't always have to be that. It can be sumptuous, sexy, flowing, languid, and fluid. I love it. I think it's a great dress. Next up, we got Beyoncé to talk about. Like, you won't break my soul, everybody. Yes. First one we're going to talk about is this Loewe look. It's a gorgeous style. Beyoncé is wearing a sleeveless catsuit that is fully crystallized and has motifs of black gloves with big red long nails that reach around the different parts of the body. It covers the breast area, it covers part of the thigh and into the crotch area, and then sort of snakes up the hands as well. It's a full catsuit, and then she has matching black crystallized red gloves that have the red nails at the end. I think it's fantastic because it's based on this fall 2022 look from Loewe by Jonathan Anderson. And the look, like most of the collection, was meant to sort of play on pop art sort of motifs and things like that. So the fact that you have these arms that sort of cover the different parts of the body that would be deemed needing to cover, but at the same time, Beyoncé is wearing what is essentially a sheer meant to be body con and sort of skin tone jumpsuit, but it's crystallized, I think is fun because those parts are meant to cover it there. So it's meant to be an illusion of sorts to the body. I love it. And I think that this image of Beyoncé in this jumpsuit will go down as probably one of the images, maybe besides her on the silver Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, QAnon horse, if you're into that kind of thing. This will be one of the images that is remembered from this era. I think for every celebrity, there's a few looks that encapsulate an era, but I think that this is going to be one of those images, maybe out of 3. We haven't seen all of the looks, I believe, from the Renaissance tour. I don't know that, I'm just making that up, but I would assume, because it's going to like September, we still got some time to see some other different looks coming in. But I love this. I think it's fun. I like the fact that it's adapted into the crystals. I think that plays off of the whole idea of performing on stage and glittering super duper well. Beyoncé and her team for the Renaissance tour, I think, is doing a really good job so far. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Next up, we have Brie Larson, and she is wearing a vintage Versace dress. And I mean, like, listen, Brie, where was this during Cannes? Because that's a hot dress. You look fantastic. I am amazed at the fit of it. It's simple, it's black, it's easy, but like, my God, the way that that dress fits her waist is fantastic. Plunge is gorgeous. The hem, my God, it's gorgeous, it's stunning. I love the fact that it has a curve to it. It's really lovely. It's a beautiful dress. It's vintage Versace, so like, you win. We all lost when we had to watch you in Chanel multiple times, but you win here. We're gonna wipe that. Well, we're not gonna wipe it away. Because again, good quote out of that, you know what I mean? The tweed poltergeist. But the tweed poltergeist is not here, and see, life is good, everybody's happy. Next up we had Cardi B in Pucci. Now she wore this full hooded cat suit in crazy Pucci motif. It's blue and it's black and it's green and it's yellow and it's red and it's white and it's everything. It's all over the place. I do like it. Listen, normally Pucci, it's a lot. I think it's a preference thing, but I think she looks good here. Honestly, I think that the suit, it's not too much. I don't think it's so ugly that I don't want to look at it. I think also the hooded with the sleeves, fingerless glove, it's sort of coming down, fitting quite well along the body. I think it works. The little gold chain waist belt, I wasn't really sure of, but I think when we look at it also with these big gold hoops, I think that it plays into itself a little bit better. And at the same time, I think the thing that we really need to talk about is the shoes, because those are crazy. These heelless shoes, so it focuses more so on like pad of the foot, are amazing. I think they're so crazy. I think they're so wonderful. It reminds me of like late 2000s kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Like a little bit Alexander McQueen. They're yellow, they ombre into red and then into blue, and there's a gold hoop that sits in the center that helps to keep the arch sort of elevated. I think the gold hoop here plays into what's going on in the gold hoop above, and I think that these shoes are the perfect way to work with this Pucci look. It's going to be a lot, so you might as well just go for it, and I think it's a good Cardi fashion moment. Most definitely. Next up we have Dua Lipa, and this is a Oroton dress by Versace as well, but it's also by Dua Lipa herself because she debuted that Dua Lipa Versace collection. People wanted me to talk about that. I don't know, celebrity collection, they're not really great. They're never really great. I will say they did a better job than I think other ones because it really did dig into the archive, but the dress in and of itself is an Oroton sort of slip dress, but what's happening here is the chainmail has actually been printed, which I think is really one of the great things about Versace is they print on this chainmail, which I think only adds to the diversity that can be embedded into the chainmail or embedded on top of the chainmail. This motif is bright, it's flowers. I think there's also a little Versace chain sort of running through the print as well. And then as we move up towards the bust, it seems to be a little bit butterfly-esque. Listen, I think it's a really great way to showcase the diversity of this material and the fact that it really can sort of be a host of things. And also normally nobody's like, oh my God, printing on metal. I respect it, you know what I mean? Do I respect the collection? Unsure. But do I respect this dress in particular? Yeah. Next up we have Elle Fanning wearing Celine. It's slinky Celine. It's easy, it's breezy, it's lemon squeezy. It's not my favorite dress in the entire world, but I don't think that it fits poorly. I think she looks really nice in it, but I also don't expect Celine to give me like avant-garde, over-the-top crazy. I expect well-fitted, well-made clothes that, you know, cost a shit ton. And I think that this dress probably does cost most definitely a shit ton. Again, I think she looks okay. I'm not really obsessed with it, but I don't hate it either. Next up we have Halle Bailey, and she did her Little Mermaid tour. So there's a lot of looks to discuss, so buckle in. First up, we're going to be talking about this Valdrin Tahiti dress. I think it was probably one of the better looks. And the thing is, she went for the mermaid theme, which I think is really smart. Again, I really think that this idea of method dressing makes sense for celebrities to play into. It's an easy way to have a simple sort of direction of what you're going to do for these press tours. I think we've seen it a lot with Margot Robbie. Recently, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I think Halle did a really good job of doing that. It seemed that the theme was mermaid, so a lot of shimmer, a lot of shine, a lot of references to clams and shells and pearlescent sort of things. I think this is a great dress because this reflective element in the blue and the silver really works. I think that it plays into the idea of the way that the sun reflects off of the ocean. And we can see there's a sort of clamshell-esque. It's a little, you know, you gotta play into it yourself, but feels a little clamshell-y in terms of these big sort of bust coverings that come up. The dress in and of itself sort of flows down, hits the floor. It's very, 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 very silver, and it seems that the light, the way that the light from the background, the way that the light from the cameras reflect off of it showcases blue and silver sort of interchangeably. But I think it's a great dress. I think, again, this idea of playing off the idea of water and shimmer and mermaids and things like that, it makes sense. It's a very smart way to do it. I'm very proud. Next up, we have Ice Spice. Please excuse the picture of Ice Spice. Listen, we're screenshotting for the music video with Taylor Swift for Karma. It's not my fault, Ice Spice. Please don't hate me. But she is wearing this area look. It is from, I believe, the Resort 2024 area collection. And it's a pretty casual area look. We've seen it before. Essentially, it's like a bow halter style in red beading. And then there is a matching sort of skirt that has little sort of fringes flowing down, which I think captures an area aesthetic very much so. Fringing, crystals, colorful, metallic-y. I love it. I think it's fun. And again, she's sitting in her little clamshell, so I think it's like it's a nice vibe. And I like to see Ice Spice getting her fashion moments here, there, and everywhere. So next up we had Karol G on the cover of Elle. Now listen, she's wearing this Luar look. I love it. I've become a Luar stan. I've changed my stance. And I love the way that Raul Lopez plays on, honestly, like tailoring. I think it's so fun. And I think that this trench coat style, it's double-breasted, it's big, it's beautiful, but it fits the body. I love these dramatic, literal football shoulder pad shoulders. I think they're crazy. I think they're weird, but I think they're also fantastic. I love the floor-length coat element of it, too. It's giving trench coat flasher, but like hot, not in garbadine, in a nice wool. I'm very sold on it. I think she looks great. And the little Marc Jacobs key boot, perfect. Perfect. I think this is a great image of her, and I think it's a great example of, listen, Karol G could go and she could wear this on a red carpet, and I would live, laugh, and love. You know what I mean? I'd go to Hobby Lobby, buy the sign. All right, we're getting into the Kar Jenner experience, so if you want to fast forward, be my guest. First up, Kendall, wearing Bottega. Kind of don't want to skip this one. This is, I believe, a gray ostrich coat, trench coat. I love it. I love ostrich. I'm sorry. I know that's bad. PETA, you could be mad at me, but love ostrich. I think it's like one of the most exciting, cool, unusual leathers. I'm not saying that I own ostrich and I'm not skinning them myself. Just think that visually, it's a really cool leather that we don't really see reciprocated in other ways from other leathers. I think the gray, it looks really, really great. I feel like oftentimes people do ostrich and it's like red and blue and bright and I think the subtleness of the gray means that A, it's rewearable, A, it's something that you could kind of keep wearing time and time again. The collar looks to be like a faux leather or a leather that looks to be sort of tortoiseshell-y, which I think is intriguing. I think that you're playing what is essentially very exotic skins against each other. It's definitely not actual tortoiseshell. So you know, tortoiseshell is like tough. That is a leather that's been embossed and printed to look like that. But I think it's an intriguing look, and I feel like Kendall normally doesn't do intriguing looks, so thumbs up to Kenny. Next up is Khloe. And like weirdly enough, the sisters have had a pretty decent month. She's wearing Alaïa. I would be Alaïa if I told you I didn't like this because I love it. Listen, it is a knit turtleneck dress with a lot of cutouts. We can see that it's sleeveless. There are cutouts right sort of in the love handle area. I'm not saying she has love handles. I just don't know the actual technical name for that area. So I'm saying the love handle area because my body, the technical aspect, has love handles there. I love this dress because it's a beautiful reference to Azzedine Alaïa. Talking about exotic skins, Azzedine Alaïa made a very famous, I believe it's a coat. It's like a jacket. I would say maybe not a coat. It's more of a jacket. And it's a crocodile leather jacket that sort of has the crocodile tail running down the back of it. It's really beautiful. It's really intriguing. It's lovely. But see, what Peter Moulier did here is he recreated the crocodile motif, but it's a knit. So it's not actually using any animal skin. I love it in the gray with the black background. I think it's really dynamic and I think it's really exciting. I love the way that the crocodile tail here falls down the front and the back, which I think is really nice and intriguing and cool. And I think Khloe does a great job of wearing amazing Alaïa, but at the same time making it fun, making it kind of sexy. Sold on Khloe. I want Khloe's fashion journey to continue because she's the favorite, you know what I mean? Everybody loves Khloe. So next up we had Kim, and Kim wore a Gucci look. This is from Alessandro Michele's last collection for Gucci, spring 2023. Alessandro was really going into like the Tom Ford archive-y kind of elements. He did work there when Tom was still there, I believe. I'm pretty positive. So it's not crazy cuckoo over the top for Alessandro to reference Tom, I don't think. But what he did is he created a black sort of fitted dress, lots of cutouts, and the cutouts on the actual sides in the love handle area. Again, not saying anybody has love handles, I'm just saying it's the area. Has a little sort of G-string that has a little Gucci G on it, and it's a reference to spring or fall 99, maybe it's 98, but a very sort of iconic Tom Ford collection for Gucci. I almost once actually bought a pair of pants from the collection. I went to an estate sale, and I was like, I need the pants. Where are the Gucci pants? Because they had them, they were pink, they were beautiful, and they were like, oh, we sold them. I'm the second person online who just sell them to, because they're not here. And they were like,
oh, we sold them online, somebody asked for them, so we shipped them to them.
False advertising reported to the FTC. Kidding, not an arc. The dress in and of itself, don't love. I just don't love the shape of it. I think it's a little bit long on her. I think Kim, personally, I think she should know her proportions a little bit better. I just think it really crimples and frumples as soon as you go right below those strings. It's kind of awkward and I don't like the shape of it there. Yeah, if we'd done something about that, maybe it would have been decent, but it's also like not really that exciting of a look. It's a cool reference to Tom, but they could have just bought regular Tom for Gucci. Next, we have Kylie Jenner wearing Courrèges. Now, this is a look from the fall 2023 Courrèges collection, and it's essentially, I believe, adapted for Kylie. It's a short skirt in black with a beige top panel and a shrug of leather sleeves. I like the idea of it. I do, genuinely. The execution, I think it's just tough. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's hard to make what essentially the sheer beigey top. It's meant to like mirror the body. I don't think that it really does that. I get that from the side angle. If we look at it in the dark, it's like, yeah, it's a little bit more believable, I would say. And I do love the leather sleeves. I think that shrug element that it wraps around the shoulders, I think that's really fun. I think that's really cool. I think the matching leather boots make sense. I think the skirt, it's good. And like, I love Courrèges. I think Nicolas de Felice is great. I think he's fantastic. I think he's wonderful. It's just harder to sell in the light, unfortunately. Next up, we have Lewis Hamilton wearing a custom Rick Owens style. This is a jumpsuit, boiler suit, driving suit, I don't know, adapted from a women's wear collection, and it is made up of a whole lot of purple sequins. We can see that it sort of cuts in at the waist, but it's pretty oversized, and he's also wearing it with what I presume are the Rick Owens Doc Martens. I'm just kind of like, I feel like Lewis would have been good in just like a regular Rick Owens boot. I'm sure whoever's car he drives could afford a Rick Owens shoe. I know they're pricey, but I'm sure we could afford it. But I will say I do love the fact that he is going for it. You know what I mean? I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I think it's different. It's certainly not something you'd see all that much even 5 years ago. When it comes to men riding cars for sport, I don't know how that's a sport, although I do understand their body go through a lot of situations doing such a thing, but again, like, that's a sport. But I will also say, listen, like, it's an acquired taste. You have to really be like, eh. But I think we can all say, listen, Lewis Hamilton, I appreciate you for attempting it. It might not be for me, but let it be for thee. Next up, we have Lisa Manoban, and she is wearing Antonia Riva. Listen, out of all of the Bulgari ladies, this is probably my least favorite look of that Venice Bulgari event. It's an off-the-shoulder silk dress. It has a sort of bow off-the-shoulder top neckline situation, and then it flows down. There's an excess jutting out of fabric on her left side, and it's just a big skirt, and I think she just lost in it a little bit. I don't really understand why we needed that extra panel of fabric on the side. I feel like it's meant to, like, you know, spice it up a little bit, but I don't think it does. I think that in reality, it just clunks up the dress. I think that it's already a lot of black, so it's going to suck in a lot of light, and it's not really going to deliver so well in photos. But I think that that panel doesn't really leave a lot of room between the sleeve and the panel, which I think jumbles everything up around the waist area, and it just falls kind of flat. I also don't think, and I'm just saying, that the necklace is that great. I think that it can be great. Beautiful silver with green gems, I'm sure they're emeralds, but I just don't think that with this dress, it really works. And I think that that probably is more so the dress's fault than it is the jewelry's fault, just to be clear. Bulgari, I love you. It's just not a great dress, which is sad. Next up, we have Margot Robbie, and she was on the cover of Vogue wearing a beautiful Versace custom dress. It's the silk style with a very fitted bodice and little tiny baby flowers on top. It's lovely, it's pink, it's shiny. I'm a little bit confused though, honestly, by the way that they shot this and like the fact that the dress poofs out. I understand that it's probably meant to do that. It's meant to sort of poof around the hips to create a little bit of an emphasis on the waist. Like, I get it. I think it's odd. I'm sure that her standing upright, it makes sense, but I think in this pose, confused by it because it just dips in, it puckers, and I know that it's meant to pucker. It's been obviously like draped that way. It's intentional, and I get it. Just don't really get why it looks like that. I don't really get why it was shot like that, if that makes sense. She looks stunning. She looks beautiful. I love the shoot. Honestly, I think the pink with the blue and her, it's great. It's really, really great. It is. It's lovely. I just don't understand that element. And that's not Versace at all. I don't think. I think it's just a Vogue thing. I love the dress. I really do. I think it fits her phenomenally. It's very apparent how well it fits her. It's just, I'm confused by that shot position. But besides that, love the dress. Next up, we have Miley Cyrus on the cover of British Vogue, and she is wearing Alaïa. This is from the fall 2023 collection. It is a trellis raincoat, and I'm pretty positive that there is no plastic in between, so this trench coat, raincoat, is pretty much made up of these pieces of leather, black leather or black patent leather that are put together in this trellis motif. I really love it. I think it's a really interesting sort of texture and textile. It's placed over top of what is essentially a halter neck bathing suit with a lot of cutouts. I believe it's also Alaïa. And then the boots are matching, which I really love. There's like a plexiglass heel, and we still have that trellis motif sort of continuing throughout both the actual sandal and the actual heel too. I love it. I think it's dynamic. I think it's fun. I think it's funky. I think it's a good way to actually get this runway look there as well. I think it would be a little bit less realistic maybe on like a day walk and things like that, but I think that honestly Miley Cyrus looks good here. But we have some other Miley Cyrus looks to talk about. Let's talk about Priyanka Chopra in this Nina Ricci moment. I'm obsessed. It is a full mermaid skirt gown. Originally on the runway, I believe it was a crop top style, and then it's been adapted for Priyanka to be full gown-ified. It has an off-the-shoulder drape. Listen, the one thing I'll say about the off-the-shoulder drape, I wish it was a little bit more symmetrical, but I like the off-the-shoulder drape. It then is a form-fitted little style in terms of the actual dress. When it reaches around the knee, it fans out into this big, bold, over-the-top skirt that I'm sure is tooled up to the gods. And then there is a big, large bow at the back that has a train that flows out. I think we need to work a little bit on the fitting element of it. I think the skirt could fit a lot better. That's my real kind of issue, just like from the waist down to the knee. It's just something Harris really has to like hone in on, is the tailoring element. It should fit really, really well, especially if we've adapted it from a crop top to an actual dress. But I like the silhouette. I think the proportions are crazy and they're over the top and they're ridiculous, but I think that that's what is meant to go on at Nina Ricci. It's not meant to be a sort of super commercial brand. I think it's more meant to be exciting and chic and elevated and celebrity oriented. And I'm okay with that. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that when we're gonna do celebrity placements, they should be perfect. Next up, we have Rihanna, and she is wearing a custom Loewe look, and it's all based on the fall 2022 collection, which had all of these different faux fur styles. She is wearing a faux fur crop top, which I love. I think it's amazing. It's sleeveless. It has a little bit of a high neck as well. It's in this gorgeous gray. And then there is a faux fur coat that she has draped around her. It's part white, part brown. It's really luxurious. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. And then she has a leather skirt that also has a little bit of a pelt or a faux pelt of gray fur as well. I'm obsessed. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. It's kooky. It's too much. And I live for it. I think this is like the perfect Rihanna moment. And she's saying, listen, if you're pregnant, you can wear whatever you want. And I say, okay, I think you're right. I agree. Who am I to disagree? Also, love ASAP shoes. The Ricks, very good. Next up, we have Sydney Sweeney, and she is wearing Schiaparelli Haute Couture. This is from the most recent Schiaparelli Haute Couture collection. It's a really kind of simple dress in and of itself. It's pretty much black chiffon that's sheer, and you can see most of the body. What Daniel Roseberry has done is he's taken sort of layers of this black chiffon and he's placed it over top in smart ways, you know, right over the bust so that that's opaque, over the waist so that that's opaque, over the pelvic area so that's opaque, and then the knees, and it moves down the dress as well. I think it's okay. I'm not obsessed with it. I don't hate it. I think that Sydney Sweeney is doing a little sex bombshell moment there, and I think it's cute and I think it works. It's just not, oh my god. It's just there. And that's okay. I don't mind it being there. But I'm not like, oh gosh. Next up, we gotta talk about Taylor Swift. Listen, the Swifties will be upset. There's no Era Tours looks in here, but we're gonna be talking about the music video Karma looks, so you're welcome. First up, Erdem. Listen, it is from the spring 2023 collection. I love this dress on her. I'm fine when she does like 1950s cosplay. It's good, it's hot, it's sexy, it's fun. Erdem is the right brand to do it. I wish that she wore more Erdem, honestly. She looks great in it. This beautiful light blue gown in this gorgeous silhouette with the gold floral embroidery is lovely on her. I love the little shoulder puffs. I think they're so wonderful. I think they're so fun. The little gloves, I think, just add a nice element, and the matching shoes, it's perfect. I love this dress. I love it on her. I'm happy with this Taylor Swift moment. Who would have thought we would be here saying such things? Not I. I could. And lastly, we have to talk about Zendaya. She is wearing a custom Richard Quinn gown. It is an off-the-shoulder silk and black velvet dress. I love the silhouette on her. I love the black velvet. I think it just fits her so gorgeously. I love the mermaid skirt. I love the silk off-the-shoulder drape. I love the necklace. It's perfect. It's that bulgari snake slithering all around her neck. She looks lovely. She looks good. I'm happy to see Zendaya out and about. I'm sold on it. So that is the end of this May 2023 roast. Sorry it took a little bit of a minute. Let's talk about best and worst. I'm going to give best to Beyoncé, Loewe. I'm going to give it to Anne Hathaway and the Versace. I'm going to give it to Karol G and Luar, Kendall Jenner, Bottega, and Khloe Kardashian and Alaïa, Rihanna, Loewe, and Taylor Swift and Erdem. Shock, I know. Worst dressed, Leah Michelle and Brandon Maxwell. Oh, Lisa in the Antonio Riva. Simone Ashley, Atelier Versace. It was tough because there wasn't that many bad. It wasn't like terrible. Nobody was really awful, so I'm sorry. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. And TT, bye. No.